Welcome to the Authority of Love. I'm your host, Greg Williams, on this Family Foundation Friday with our co-host, Mr. David Walls from the Family Foundation. Welcome, David.
It's good to be back with you, Greg.
Yeah, we missed off last week with Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Trust that you had a great Thanksgiving. However, you're connecting with us, radio or podcast or video. Thank you for that, and I trust that you had a wonderful Thanksgiving and are enjoying a wonderful Advent and Christmas season.
Yes, it is Christmas season now.
Yes, it is right. Thank you for reminding me. You know, I jump in at 1st of November and I'm ready to go. But as I've said to you before,
got your Christmas tie on.
I
do.
do.
I'm feeling it.
I got to mention that every time. You know, I only have like a month to do this, so I got about 6 or 7 ties. I don't wear them hardly any other time, but at this time I do. So, hey, tell us about your Thanksgiving, David.
Yeah,
sounded like it was great.
We had some sickness that went around, impacted some of our plans, but we still have a lot to be thankful for. So, didn't go as we planned, but still got to spend some good time with my parents.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. And you know, sometimes that's God's way of saying, just settle down and chill.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if he probably uses all the good words, but they aren't original.
Yeah.
But he probably does. Relax. I want you to remember that. This is important. And so we trust that we'll have the time with family as on into this season and love it, as I've told you before. So thank you again for joining us. And by the way, if this is helping you, please share it. Social media, please share it in any way that you can. Help us get the word out and get people praying and active in all of this. So speaking of that, David, I just got yesterday, actually the day before.
Okay.
The day before, I got the latest Citizen.
Yeah.
There's a lot in there.
Yeah. Our fourth quarter year-end Kentucky Citizen publications out in the mail. It's available, the articles on our website as well at kentuckyfamily.org. But some important pieces. Encourage folks to go read. But, a couple of things that we did, Greg, was look at some of the key issues coming up for the 2026 General Assembly. It's hard to believe, but we're essentially right at about a month away from the start of the 2026 General Assembly. It'll be the long 60-day budget session. So we need to be praying for our leaders in Frankfurt. We've continued to have some good meetings over the last several weeks with a number of members. But a couple of issues that we highlighted in the Citizen. One is the continued need to protect female spaces, to set common sense policies across the state, particularly in government buildings, including the state capitol.
Yes.
For restrooms, bathrooms.
You had a great picture if people want to see it that dealt with that.
Absolutely. We included a picture in our Citizen from the end of this last session where our friend State Representative Bill Wesley was having to confront a man who was claiming to be a woman that was going into the women's restrooms at the Kentucky Capitol. Kind of Exhibit A of what we're talking about. The need, as a number of other states, to say we're going to pass a statewide Women's Bill of Rights or Women's Privacy Act that just simply says women's facilities are for women, whether we're talking about bathrooms.
Biological women.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Right. So that was one of the issues that we highlighted with some detail. Another one, Greg, was the need to deal with the continued proliferation of the abortion death pill. You and I have talked about that some over the course of this year. We're continuing to see really the battle to protect unborn lives, the battle to protect mothers from harm is centered around the proliferation of the abortion death pill. We're continuing to see states, pro-life states, having these deadly pills flood in, even though we have laws against it. And so we need to be looking at what are some increased enforcement mechanisms that we can put in place to protect obviously unborn lives, but as we've talked about, to protect moms as well, because the reality is these the abortion death pill, as I encourage folks to call it,
is what it
causes severe complications a high percentage of the time, much higher than what the FDA already says.
Far too many times.
Absolutely.
Far too many times, yeah.
And so, so much of this goes back to the Biden administration where they removed any safety precautions as it related to this pill. And so it really is just the wild, wild west right now, Greg.
Yeah. Well, and while you're on that, I know there's some other things in the Citizen that we want to talk about, but I find it interesting because it's going to lead into another case we're going to talk about today, this idea of federalism in the sense that I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, okay? I don't even play one on TV.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is the states, many states, have had laws that say we outlaw this.
Yeah.
It's illegal in every way in our state. That's
Right.
what you gave us the rights to do in
Yeah.
overturning Roe in the Dobbs
Yeah.
decision. So federal government, I think, should step in and say, on those states that have those laws, if you send it into those states, you're going to be prosecuted.
Yeah.
Because right now, if Illinois says, come on over here, or we'll send it into your state, and we're not going to prosecute anybody that breaks your laws, the federal government can step in and say, we're not bothering your laws, Illinois. We're protecting Kentucky because of their laws.
Yeah, well, and a number of the pro-abortion states are, going a step further and passing these very troubling shield laws, as they're sometimes
that's what
called.
I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Right,
absolutely.
yeah.
And so, the reality is there has to be some level of cooperation between the states when it comes to enforcing each other's laws.
Right.
That normally takes place, but again, all the rules go out the window when it comes to the left's, the culture of death and their desire to see abortion proliferate as much as possible.
The ideology and the idolatry.
Absolutely.
It really is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so it just, exposes once again this idea that somehow the abortion industry cares about women. It just flies right outside of the window if you just simply look at what they are doing, removing protections, wanting to ensure that there's not ways to protect women, there's not ways to ensure the laws being enforced. Mm-hmm. So this is why we need to act. The General Assembly needs to act to put additional enforcement mechanisms in place. But it's to your point, Greg. It's why advocating for life, fighting against the culture of death and those that are promoting abortion, and as we saw just even a couple weeks ago. The New York Times essentially putting a charge out nationwide for Democrats to make this a part of their campaign strategy heading into the midterms next year.
Yeah.
This is an issue that we have to fight at every level. It's still a federal issue. It's obviously a state issue. And honestly, Greg, it's a local issue as well. And we would continue to encourage local governments to look at ways that they can ensure that their policies are promoting life and not being used to facilitate or traffic abortion.
I mentioned this when I was commenting on that there's another case that deals with similar type things, pregnancy centers, abortion, and the contrast and the conflict between the federal and the state. So there's a big case that the Supreme Court just heard on Tuesday of this week that's got a lot of ramifications.
Yeah, the Supreme Court heard a very important case out of the state of New Jersey dealing with essentially the government of New Jersey, their attorney general, going after targeting the pro-life pregnancy care centers.
For no reason.
Really, just under the guise of saying that they think they might be deceptive in their advertising. They subpoenaed a number of pro-life pregnancy care centers and wanting to really intimate them. Yeah. So to get all their
Planned Parenthood,
to get all their information, their communication, their communication with their donors, to get their donors. I mean, we've seen this happen before, Greg, and this is always government intimidation that is designed to keep people from wanting to support organizations. Yes. We saw it on the marriage issue. There were instances where those that were supporting a marriage between a man and a woman, different organizations involved in that, had their donor list targeted and so forth.
Yeah. People went after some of them.
Absolutely.
That's the point. In today's riotous, anarchic world that we live in, that the left has created, they know, well, if we get them intimidated or get them exposed, then we'll have some people go after them.
Yeah.
We would never say that, but we know that they will.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see it.
Yeah. So our good friends at Alliance Defending Freedom are defending the pro-life pregnancy care centers in this case. And from all that I heard and even listening to some of the exchanges in the oral arguments, it sounds very promising. Sounds like that the justices, even potentially some of the liberal justices on the court, recognized that this is a very dangerous, slippery slope, so to speak, that the New Jersey is going after. And because again, some of the left to center groups are concerned, well, what if in a conservative state they decided to do this against left-leaning organizations? At the end of the day, the government should not weaponize its power to go after organizations and to really try to discourage folks from being able to freely
just
associate.
because they disagree with them.
Absolutely.
Just because, right.
Absolutely. Yeah. So this is an important case. Important, obviously, for pregnancy care centers, but really has important implications for any Christian ministry that engages in the public policy realm. Yeah. So one to be watching. We mentioned, just to remind folks as well, we have an article in our Citizen about the upcoming oral arguments that have now been set January 13th of next year. The Save Women's Sports case. This is going to be another huge case that you and I have talked some about. But let's be praying for the Supreme Court. There are a number, as there are every term, a number of important cases that are going to impact the future of religious liberty, the future of life, the future of common sense in protecting female sports, Christian counseling. We have an article about the big Christian counseling case as well in our Citizen. So
churches and Christian nonprofits, that you've already mentioned, all of these things. And it's interesting that New Jersey case with the CPC, the Pregnancy Center, really hits a lot of these. Yeah. It really does. So, and it's interesting you mentioned, but as I've read about it, the justices seem to be catching most of those. Yeah. They're realizing that there's something else going on here. Yeah. And you can't just silence them by using the government, as you said, weaponizing. Yeah. Well, and I meant to mention this earlier, but there was a very memorable exchange on that with Justice Thomas, where he really grilled the counsel, the attorney for the Attorney General's office in New Jersey, and made it very clear there hadn't been a single complaint filed against this pregnancy care center that they were doing something deceptive. Right. Yeah. So it really was. It's just a fishing expedition that's designed to intimidate, designed to suppress, and ultimately, let's just be clear. And we've heard this from other pro-abortion folks in the pro-abortion lobby. They want to shut down these pregnancy care centers because they're effective at what they're doing. They do it without taxpayer funding, like Planned Parenthood historically has, and they just do an incredible job of saving lives, but also caring for holistically. For the mothers and the fathers in a way that is just completely foreign to the abortion industry. Yeah. It really exposes them for who they are, and so they want them shut down. Well, and here's the other positive thing about that, because we continue to hear, you talked about a couple or 3 weeks ago, maybe the largest in the country in Houston, Planned Parenthood shutting down. Yeah. We continue to hear almost weekly, if not more than that, where more of them shut down. Well, that's been our prayer. Right. If they didn't get government funding, which they don't deserve, a lot of this is going to happen. But here's the other thing. It also takes them out of the education realm, where they're going in and promoting a lot of this stuff through the horrific comprehensive sex education curriculum, which leads to much of this. Yeah. So there's a foundational piece there that's getting shut down, which is awesome. Well, and it's also the political side as well, Greg. Any of these dollars free up their other resources, and we know that they have spent tremendous amount of money the last several election cycles promoting pro-death candidates, pro-abortion candidates, and opposing pro-life candidates. Yeah. Well, and we've got about a minute left, David, so I want to share some. Thank you again. We'll be talking more about these things as they get closer, and you obviously hear about how well they're going or what we need to pray for in the General Assembly. But I do want to welcome you and invite you to a special event that I'm excited about. My sister, Beth Williams, was born with brain damage, okay? She has become a VIP at McLeod's Coffee House, David. It was not supposed to live past 20. Well, they've set it up so I could come in and tell her story with my parents next Friday, December the 12th at 6 p.m. at McLeod's Coffee House. If you would like to come and join us, please do. A little fun food fellowship. Email me at loveandlordship@gmail.com by next Thursday, loveandlordship@gmail.com. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for your prayers. Thanks always to the Lord. I'm Greg Williams with co-host David Walls. You're listening to Family Foundation Friday on the Authority of Love.